Now, Lagos State's Office of Overseas Affairs and Investment is working with other ministries, departments and agencies to maximize and promote the state's export potential. The office aims to deliver on its mandate to create an enabling environment for global competitiveness in order to boost foreign direct investment in the state. I spoke to Professor Ademola Abbas, Special Advisor to the Lagos State Governor for the Office of Overseas Affairs and Investment.
We've been working with various MDAs since our office started, and our meeting with the MDAs today wasn't because we were having any challenges from them for the past 9 months, but to ensure that we wouldn't leave anything ambiguous and to clarify some of our processes, and also to have an opportunity really to be able to have an interaction with our colleagues in various MDAs. Because as I said during the meeting, we are not an implementing agency. So it's important for us to let them realize that and let our colleagues also know where they come in and how they can assist us to assist them in bringing investment into Lagos State.
Why would an investor then go through your office if they could still go to the ministry and have their proposal rejected? What is the advantage of coming through you?
The truth is, an investor will have to come to our office first, and that is because, number one, that enables us to be able to track what the investor is doing. And not only tracking, as I did say during the meeting, we must understand that we have to pre-qualify every investment that comes to Lagos State. So if you don't pre-qualify, if an investor goes straight to a ministry or to a directorate or to an agency, we are not stopping that. You know, they can talk to us, they can talk to them, but if they talk to them, they must refer them back to us for us to know that they've been there, what they've discussed, for us to be able to pre-qualify. You know, but what they should do, as I said earlier on, was that they must come to us for. That is the process. An investor comes to us, it enables us to be able to pre-qualify them. We check what they've got. We check whether the investment is in the first place in an area that Lagos State is interested in. It's only when they have crossed that particular hurdle and other hurdles like what their financial models, whether it's one that is going to be beneficial to both parties, whether we have what they are requiring us to contribute, for instance, in terms of equity, it might be land. It is only when we have answered all those questions at Lagos Global that we can then advise, we can then send that particular proposal to the relevant MDA. Another reason for asking them to start with us is that an investor might think an issue is in the Ministry of Commerce, and that issue actually might be more related to Ministry of Economic Development. You know, by coming to Lagos Global, we have the opportunity of directing you to the appropriate MDA to go. You know, and finally, our responsibility is not only to bring in investment into Lagos State, but to also be able to service investors, to provide aftercare, services for them. If they don't come to us, there's no way we're going to know that they are within the system, and they cannot really be within the system without coming to us. And finally, as I said during that meeting, if a proposal doesn't come through Lagos Global, it runs a very high risk of us knowing about it, so therefore we cannot present it for approval of the governor or of the ESCO.
You mentioned Nigeria's 169th position in the World Bank's ease of doing business. Now, how can Lagos change the global perception when the federal government and the central bank's policies are not always favorable to investors?
In terms of ease of doing business, we could have done a lot better than we did in the last ranking, and that is what we are working towards achieving. And also, you are very right in saying that there are many policies from the federal government. But look, what I tell investors when they show concerns about this, as they should, is that whatever policies are emerging from the federal government today, they are policies that are temporary. They are policies meant to address some specific challenges within the Nigerian political system. And we all understand that. So something has to give way. We cannot continue as a country the way we've been doing in the past. So if in the short term, we have to take policies that will have to address all those gaps, then we have to take them. But the message to the investor is that, look, these are not policies that are going to stay here forever. They are in the short term, and so we have to stay with them. But in terms of Lagos State, as a state, we have things we are doing to cushion the effect of these policies. As an example, if an investor comes to Lagos State, in terms of we can give you some tax break, we can give some pioneer status and so on and so forth. And apart from that, the space with which we want to make sure that we turn around your investment proposal into becoming a concrete investment is already a kind of dividend that we give back to you as an investor. So we tell our investors, don't look at, where you see challenges in Nigeria, begin to see opportunities. That is the point, and that is the message that we are giving them as Lagos Global, that where you see challenges, begin to see opportunities, because all these policies they are temporary, they are going to be short-term.
You mentioned the Dubai strategy and partnering with countries that have excelled in certain areas. Is the UAE one of those countries?
Oh, definitely, yes. I mean, we have a lot to learn from the UAE. Dubai today is a city in UAE, but the truth is almost everybody goes there. We even forget in which country we are in, because it's like a mini country and zone in terms of its infrastructure, in terms of its resources, in terms of the way it opens itself up to business. That is Dubai. We keep forgetting it is actually part of the country. So it's a model that actually appeals to me as a person, that, Nigeria is a huge country. It's a phenomenally huge country, a great country in all respect. But states, cities could also start benefiting from that status to also promote themselves, as partners of the country, as entities within Nigeria, but also to showcase themselves that apart from our country, you can also see these, So it's a complementary relationship.
There are a number of challenges for investors in these parts, electricity being one. There's also the issue of taxation. So how does the Lagos State government or this office particularly plan to work with LIRS and FIRS to ensure that there are favorable tax conditions for investors?
In terms of tax regime, yes, we're working together with, LIRS in terms of what tax breaks we could have to be able to encourage investors from coming. For FIRS, VAT is standard at the federal level, and we don't have any leverage as a state, obviously, on that. I don't think we've been pushing for a long time for a special status for Lagos State because of the enormous amount of VAT generated, even for the federal revenues from Lagos State. But until we win that battle, or until we convince the federal authorities on why they should give us a special status, all we can do for now is to hope for a better tax regime, but to keep on working with LIRS to make sure that within the state level, we make our investors as comfortably as possible in their drive towards investing in Lagos State.
Professor Ademola Abbas is a special advisor to the Lagos State Governor for the Office of Overseas Affairs and Investment.